Hello, everybody. Sorry, we're trying to do something different. Hold on, right there. Ha. Hello, everybody. Sorry about that. We're trying something new tonight. We're adding Instagram to our live, and you kind of have to go in there after you go live here. So I was clicking buttons up there.
And
Welcome.
I'm checking to see if it's working.
And Melanie beside me. I always forget to introduce myself because new people. Hi, I'm Mark McKellar. I'm a wildlife biologist here in Kansas City, Missouri, and I own a retail store known as the Backyard Bird Center. And with this YouTube channel, Mark's Backyard Birds, we've been doing these lives now for well over a year now. We're on a roll, and welcome in everybody. You guys we've been having to do some work here, and Melanie and I, my wife, is here, and Sophie, the producer dog, is down there, and we've been enjoying watching you guys talk in the chat there while we were getting stuff ready. The way the conversations carry on, and that's great. And you know how when we start on the lives, we kind of have to give people a chance to get logged in. Like I said, I know Facebook is a little bit slower, and so it takes a while for the Facebook folks to be able to log in. So we always start with welcomes and thank yous and those kind of things, and welcome you guys in. But it is the March 2024 Wild Bird update. We've already done a March update, so I kind of had to add that 24 in there since we did one this time last year.
It's not showing that you're live.
On what, Instagram?
Mm-hmm.
Oh well, Instagram may not be working, so that's okay. They said we tried to follow their instructions, but it I don't know that it worked or not. But I know YouTube are here. I see, and then I think some Facebook people are joining.
Yep, you're on Facebook.
Facebook is live too, so good. We're in there.
I want to try to share it to the community group. That's what I did last week when it started talking.
You can hear her over there. Yeah, she's going to try to share it to the community group, and thank many of you who have been joined in that community group have been sharing pictures and stories and things on there. It's great. Sandy, I know, is really active. She takes great pictures and have been sharing a lot of pictures on there. It's been wonderful. A lot of you are very active on there. So, boy, I tell you, I got to go way back up here and welcome everybody. So, yes, Space Ghost and Martin's arrived in Central Arkansas. Absolutely. I checked the map this week, and we've had some sightings up here in Kansas City. No, none of my customer Martin people have called me yet, but there are some in and around the area. So Arkansas is right on time. Clearman, a white-breasted nuthatch has taken a residence in the Bluebird box. They will do that. The first several years I had my Bluebird box in my old residence for 15 years. It was chickadees that took up residence in there, but the Bluebirds did finally get the nest in there. So you got to love nuthatches, and that's absolutely okay for them to nest in there. So there's Sandy. Outdoor nuthatches are better than, yeah, that's right. And yeah, I saw you guys got into the conversation about Bluebird. The house sparrows, and that's always a topic with us on our lives. And people always have Bluebird questions and battling house sparrows. And I've got a box picture in here I was going to share with you in a little bit. But battling house sparrows is always a challenge. Got into a long conversation on Saturday with a customer about her long-time battles with them. And I try not to offend people. And when, I guess, if we mention on here about, house sparrows not being protected by law like European starlings, and some people have it in their heart to actually kill house sparrows and starlings. Well, some people take a great offense to that, and I'm sorry if you do, but it is the truth, and they negatively impact our native bird populations, especially bluebirds and purple martins. If you're a landlord, you know that the problems. You don't have to, and I know a lot of people don't have it in their heart to do that. And people sometimes get upset when we talk about things like that, but it is true, and you can definitely do that to help control them and to protect your bluebird nest and things, because they will devastate those bluebird nests, that's for sure. So hey Sandy, hey David from Rhode Island, is the grandson on with you tonight? I haven't seen him, Daryl, join in yet. Hi Mario. Yeah, we communicated this week on a couple of things about that. So Yes, when you lose habitat, I'm not click here. I'm not clicking on. I'm sorry. I should be clicking on these as I'm talking. Yes, when you lose habitat around you, like when they build for development and things like that, is a really good idea to put up nest boxes because especially the dead trees that were in those lots around you, the woodpeckers have more likely created a lot of nesting habitat for the bluebirds, chickadees, and nuthatches, the titmice. A lot of these cavity nesting birds, loss of habitat like that, like around them, and you can help them by putting up boxes. Unfortunately, you can't put up a lot of boxes a lot of times because the territory between males is such that they won't allow that many close neighbors like that. So you do have to spread them out. And remember, no two bluebird boxes within 100 yards because the males are going to fight. Or you can have a tree swallow box, the one nesting on, and bluebird box. I'll talk about that quite a bit. But the house wrens especially are very nasty, and they'll go in and break any other eggs that are in a nest box close to theirs. They're very territorial that way. Yeah. Oh, I saw the dead body comment. Yeah, that is a fish. The belted kingfisher has caught a fish there, and that was a great action photo in that. All right. Yep. And David, I know we've talked about your situation that happened with you about your bluebirds being killed by the house sparrows, and you're right. Bluebird box designs, nest box designs. Perfect example is not putting the perches on them anymore. We haven't done that for many, many years, but still people are putting them on there, and that aids predators and undesirable birds to take over nest. And so that's just one simple thing. Make sure they're deep enough. Make sure the hole size is correct. You don't want a hole that's too big or too small. So lots of information out there as to what size box. One of the things that I've had to do, because obviously this, we get people from all over on this. Now we're carrying bluebird boxes with the larger hole, the 9/16 hole, which is for western bluebirds and mountain bluebirds. And so you wanted to make sure you're putting the right size, getting the right size hole in there for the birds you're targeting for sure. Definitely a fish he's just caught, that's for sure. All right, let's see.
Oh, that's you thought it was.
Oh, yeah. He thought it was a rag doll. Oh, sorry. Yep, here we go. All right. Hello from Springfield, Missouri. Love Springfield. A great nature center down there. I worked with some of those folks in my life. Well, there you go. Get them going. Tommy from Ely, Iowa. Excellent. Welcome in. Hello from Kankakee, Illinois. And I didn't say this at first, but as you see, people are checking in with where they live, and that really helps me out because like I said, I'm here in Kansas City, Missouri, right in the heart of the country. And like tonight, when I'm talking about, what's going on in March, we're talking about if you're south of us, it's been earlier. If you're heading north of us, it's going to be a little bit later. I don't know how many of you watched the video from Monday night when I was talking about when will the hummingbirds return, and I posted that map, and it shows you the average return date, and it is so easy to jump in when it gets really warm early, thinking they hear the birds are going to come back early, and it's amazing. They will return pretty close to their average return date. As I always say, birds in Costa Rica don't know what the weather's like in Kansas City, and weather doesn't affect their migration as much as day length does. Hello, Andrew from Cincinnati. I know I said we saw John from New York on there, and then we've got
Daryl from Rhode Island.
Daryl, and yep, you're on tonight. Good, absolutely. With your granddad. See Megan from New York. Welcome in. And hi, David. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
tell Sophie I said hi. When is the dark-eyed juncos leaving? You know what? I have seen dark-eyed juncos as late as mid-April. Some years, it just depends. But some will start to pull out here fairly quickly, and especially as far as further south that you are. But they will fill. I've still got them coming now. I mean, it's still, again, they're triggered by day length as well, and then they'll also, once they get good consistent south wind, they'll jump on those and take off. So we've got them for a little while longer. Hi, Raj. How are you tonight? Excellent.
Kansas City.
I know. He's right. He's a neighbor. All right. Southern Wisconsin. Welcome in, Prince Caspian. Let's see. Hello, Carrie. Carrie was our store manager and good friend of mine, and she lives right down the street. Absolutely. Oh, okay. You guys are talking. Hi, Denise. Well, my West Coast folks, welcome in. It's good to hear from you. Hi, Kurt. That down the street, Carrie. And hi, Shirley. I heard you called the store today. I didn't get to talk to you. Welcome in. Carol and Jay from just north of us. I hear with some of our bird watchers. I just sent out my monthly email that has our bird hikes for the spring in it. Get those up on the website here probably tomorrow on the calendar page. From Georgia, Tiff from Georgia. Welcome in. Hey, Alyssa from New Jersey, a real regular. Comes in. I have a bag over my Bluebird house until I see some Wren's houses are open for business, though. Yeah, this house sparrows will attack those Bluebird boxes early. Hi, Kathy. Welcome in from Greenwood, Indiana. Working Bulldogs, and Ruth likes that name. Ontario, Canada. Lisa, welcome in.
Here's a question.
Does Merlin app make mistakes on birds? It absolutely does make mistakes. And vireos tend to be a very tough group of birds for Merlin. And Merlin has it has a little orange dot. Sometimes it'll tell you, that it may be wrong. It's just a guess. Hutton's vireo, that would be, yeah. I mean, you're in Texas. So, I mean, I have much more experience with Huttons out west. So it often mistakes Philadelphia vireo for red-eyed vireo in our area. So yeah, Merlin makes mistakes. It's not perfect. Yep. From Dallas, welcome in, Michael. Hello, Ruth Simmons from Lee Summit, Missouri. One of my best friends.
Shirley says she loves the community.
Good. Thank you, Shirley. Yep. Plant a service berry tree. I love service berries. Yesterday, Amory, she got to see fruit and hopefully bring in cedar waxwings. And the great thing about service berries is they produce fruit really early compared to a lot of fruit-bearing shrubs and trees in the area. So that's great. Yeah, service berry is a great plant. Landscaping is such a key. Absolutely. Starlings and Grouse, very active feeders. Yes. I remember cage feeders and safflower are quite often the answer to those two. And those 3 words I dread. I have grapples. Yes. They hate safflower. They really do. I have robins. Yes. How's a cold weekend coming from temperatures in 20s with the robins? That's a tough one. Robins, they subsidize on fruit, and in this time of year, the fruit's getting really get low. You can try, soaking raisins and putting those out. Sometimes they'll poke around in a birdseed mix that does have fruit in it, or they'll eat mealworms. Dried mealworms is another thing that they'll eat at this time of year. You can put that out for them. And sometimes they'll poke around in a bird feeder with other birds and maybe get a hole of seed. But they're, it's a tough thing for them because they're primarily, worm eaters and also fruit eaters. So, former Kansas City, the Waldo area, Ozark Flutter. I like that name. Hello from New Jersey. Hello, Tommy. Richard Nemecek from Poconos, Pennsylvania. It's not a lot of Pennsylvania people. Hello from Illinois, Derek. Saw my first pine siskin today. Yeah, I haven't seen a pine siskin all winter. And I know, Jay, that you guys, Carol, had sent a picture of a bunch of pine siskins in a tray feeder with a bunch of goldfinches the other day up here in Kansas City, but I've not seen a one all winter. Maybe they're late moving around. Good. Enjoying the eagles in Overland Park and Los Bluffs. Saw a bunch of western meadowlarks in Los Bluffs. Yeah, we'll post pictures. Excellent. Los Bluffs amazing this year. They've got probably over 1 million snow geese up there right now. You're absolutely, Andrew. Absolutely glad to do it. Watching mating rituals, house finches, cardinals. Yes. So I thought there's a lot of mating rituals going on right now. That's one of the things we're going to be talking about. Do juncos choose mates before they migrate? I don't know that for a fact. They may, but migration is tough and it is long and it'd be very hard for them to keep that pair bond through that whole migration. So my guess is it's probably not until they get on their nesting territories for the most part.
Okay.
All right. Hello, Ellie. Another of my Kansas City folks.
Okay, so he's trying. Here's his question.
Certain bird feed are better at certain times.
Bird feed.
Bird seed and bird feed. That's a good. Well, a lot of when it comes to bird feed variations at times of the year has to do with when the blackbirds arrive. A lot of people will switch their feeding regiments from their favorite blends to a safflower primarily because of the blackbird, the grackles, not so much red wings, but grackle. They don't like safflower seeds. So if you get inundated with grackle in your area, especially if you have a lot of pines, they love to nest in pines. A lot of people will switch primarily to safflower. So some birds may shift a little bit in their dietary preferences in the winter months, but from the summer months, but not so much. I mean, sunflowers are always good. Sunflower products like currant chips and medium chips and whole hearts, those are always good. Peanuts are always good. But I don't know that you can really put one as a preference at certain times of the year. Some people just have a preference the way they feed it when they feed it is probably a better way to put that, Jonathan. All right. Yes, and that's one of the things we're talking about. Really warm weather, birds start singing, and then we get these cold snaps. This is what happens in the spring. That's when everybody gets excited about things are happening, and then we have a really bad cold snap. But birds are singing more because of the day length than they are because of the weather patterns. It is day length that triggers them. And one of the things, I'm going to go ahead and get going here, talking. But one of the things that happens in spring is a lot of birds start their molting process, and what they're doing is preparing for the nesting season, the mating season. Like this American goldfinch he's in about a 50-50 stage with his winter plumage to his breeding plumage. That is triggered by day length. That is not triggered by temperature. This happens whether it's 15 degrees outside or if it's 60 degrees outside. They start molting in anticipation because it's their normal cycle, and they're already starting to molt, and that means they replace every feather. Not all birds do that. Goldfinches do it twice a year, where every single feather gets replaced twice a year, where most birds do partial molts and all, but that's a lot of what's going on. And this is a great example of day length. It's something that day length triggers, and singing is another. They start to sing, because remember, I've said many times that your reward for not leaving in the winter, but you staying here and toughing out winters rather than going to the tropics, is that you can start nesting earlier. And that's this song is the first sign of that, as they really start to sing. And those are males that are setting up their territories, are starting to establish boundaries, and they're starting mate attraction, trying to get the females to pay attention and bond with them. And females do a little bit of singing, but not nearly as much as the males. So female cardinals will duet with the males at times, but for the most part, what you're hearing right now are those males. And early in the morning, especially when you go out to fill your bird feeders, boy, there's a lot of song out there. And that is the early stage of the spring. That's what March is all about, and that is that transition into the nesting season instead of the survival mode, as we say. So let's see. Eastern wood peewee. Oh, now that would be really early, Alyssa. Peewees are for us, at least here in Kansas City, we don't usually hear them sometimes until the first week of May, if not the second week of May. Now, phoebes really do start singing early. They're already back in the area, start filtering in, and phoebes, but peewees would be really pretty early. I know you're up in New Jersey, and I mean, it could be an early bird, but another thing to don't forget is, the mimic thrushes. The mockingbirds can do a really good peewee. So I've heard them do it many times. So it may be that. So it just seems a little early for them. Hello, Mark Stevens from Kansas City. Yeah, absolutely. Mark was in this weekend and bought a new pair of binoculars from me, and he goes on our bird hikes, and so we're getting fired up about getting to go out and do some birding. This Sunday is our first second Sunday at Smithville. We'll be meeting out there at 1:00 for you guys in the area. We'll be looking for some moving waterfowl this time of year. Hey, Jordan from Pittsburgh. How can I keep the grackle from taking off my blue? Yeah, there he goes to hiding them. Yeah, the part of that is, I only limit my peanuts every day because I know, man, these guys are gonna, especially the squirrels, but also a lot of these junk birds will jump in there and steal them away. So yeah, hiding is probably a good idea. I like to try to get on a routine with my blue jays, and that is put out the peanuts the same time every day. And they'll get used to that, and then they'll come in and swoop in, and they'll get as many as they can before the other birds or the squirrels can get to them as well. Your best bet. All right, so many grackles are over here. Yeah, yes, they will drive you crazy during spring migration. When they come in, they will take over a feeder station. There's no doubt about it. I love red-winged blackbirds. I do. They're cousins to the orioles, but when there's a bunch of them, and they will take over a feeder station. And Carrie is a big proponent of striped sunflower. That's right. Yep. Yeah, they don't. They tend to stay away from striped sunflower. It's maybe too big for them. They don't like to handle it, and of course they prefer grains. I always keep millet out. Of course, my juncos love it, but the Red Wings like the millet too. They're usually down there on the ground eating that before they're up in the feeders. So you can't beat them, join them type thing. Well, the other part of this time of year is I always get that question is, should I stop feeding my birds? And I did a video on this just recently. Remember, birds that prefer seeds, and goldfinches are a prime example. They don't eat insects. Cardinals prefer seeds and everything. Well, they've been eating at your bird feeders all winter, but they've also been eating all the natural seed supplies that are out there that are produced in the fall by a lot of the plants. And they've been eating on that. And especially in mild winters when there's not a lot of snow cover, and I call this the 3-week winter that we've had because it's been so mild most of the year, those natural food supplies run really low, starting now by like February, March. And so in years when it's been really mild like this, a lot of times we sell more bird seed in April and May than we did back in January when it was so mild, or February when it was so mild. So people who give up feeding birds as soon as it gets warm, you're not doing your birds any favor because they really do need that seed, and they want that seed. But because there's no real seeds being produced in nature now. The first seeds that are usually produced are the dandelions. The dandelions are, my producer's out of the room. The dandelions are the first thing that produces seeds in the area, and we don't have any dandelions yet. So the birds are, like I said, they're running low on their fall seed supplies. I put a safflower lock under a magic. So we're having any visitors. Yeah. It's tough. I mean, safflower is not as favored by as many birds, that's for sure. But cardinals love it, house finches, and mourning doves, things like that. But when it's in a log form, and you're talking about like held together with pectin, some birds are not as good at figuring that out. Once they do, you should have good luck with it. So much of it is when you feed something like safflower and stripe, like Carrie's talking about, what you're trying to do is to make give them less desirable seeds. And I believe in putting out the grains to a certain extent, like millet, to help lure those less desirable birds down there, because that's what they prefer for sure. So don't give up feeding birds. Like I said, that goes without saying. And my ID lesson for tonight is this bird right here, and that is. How many know what this is? Can anybody tell me what this bird is? I'll look for comment. I'm going to go down to the bottom here. Oh, go back. Hello, Renee from Akron, Ohio. Is this a warbler? Is this a tanager? Is this an oriole? It is a female red-winged blackbird. Correct. Good answer, guys. It is. This bird confuses folks terribly. And that's why I put it up here, because I'm already getting the questions. Now, the red-winged blackbirds have moved in huge numbers. Now, some overwinter, but for the most part, the males has started arriving, and that is like Andrew was saying. You look out there, and all I have are male red-winged blackbirds, and that's typical migration for them. Sophie's commenting over here. The males roll in first, and I haven't seen a single redwing at my feeder station yet. They're usually a good 2 weeks behind, and that if not 3 weeks, and the females start to roll in, and this bird confuses a lot of people, and that's why I want to put that in tonight, because look at the bill shape, and the body shape is the same as a male red-winged blackbird, and it is. Remember, these are cousins to the Baltimore Orioles. So they have the basic same bill shape as an oriole as well. But they're larger than sparrows. But a lot of people, I saw song sparrow pop up there as a guest, and they're very striped like a song sparrow. But this is boom. They'll come in and we'll get a lot more calls. But I had a little snippet video of a male redwing I was going to play with him singing. But for some reason, it could not interpret it. The program had trouble with it, so I couldn't play it, and I'm sorry for that. But there's an ID help for tonight. I'm sorry. I know you guys did really well with that. I'm proud of all of you. Knew that was a redwing. It is very confusing, and I'm sorry. I skipped down, so I know I misspelled some people from up here. But all right. You guys are talking good. All right. Okay. Now, bluebirds. People are, I know we always have our bluebird questions, and people ask all the time, and you guys have already been talking about it now. Is there such thing as an anti-sparrow bluebird box? And this is a slot box. This doesn't have the 1.5 inch diameter hole. This has that slot, and it is marketed as an anti-house sparrow box. I'm not sold. I mean, we've tried lots of different anti-house sparrow boxes in the past. I wonder if any of you have had experiences with the slot boxes. My guess is hopefully it does discourage them to some extent. Now, I know this is also a very popular box with tree swallows. With the tree swallows that will nest in bluebird boxes. And this is a design that is marketed for the tree swallow boxes. Another thing the tree swallow people want, reading up on their site, is they want the inside dimensions of that box to be 5 by 5, and a lot of bluebird boxes eastern bluebird boxes are actually 4 by 4 interior, and then they really would prefer their boxes to be 5 by 5. So that's a couple of things, but this is a slot box. And it's the same concept, but supposedly, they're marketing and saying that the house sparrows won't use these, or they stay away from them. I don't know. Like I said, I've never seen that to be the case. But if you guys have some experience there and believe it works, then I would love to hear that. So, all right, from Blairsville. Hey, Ricky Flair. All right, from Pennsylvania. Oh, good. Yeah. You're advising some hot mixes for squirrels starting. the hot sauce and haven't seen a squirrel at the feeder since. Excellent. There you go. When the hot sauce works, that is a good thing. Just know that it loses its potency, so don't mix up too much at one time, John, because it'll get weaker and weaker, and the squirrels will start eating it again. So just mix up enough that you need for your bird feeders. And remember, once you put it in a bird feeder, that's the seed you're going to want to put in there for sure. So that's because that oil will get all in and that plastic and thing, wood, whatever kind of feeder you're using. Okay, yeah, you haven't seen the female red wings, Andrew. You're going to be seeing red wings pretty soon. I bet you're going to see a bunch. Absolutely, they are coming. Yeah, the red wings are on the way. Deter a bluebird from using the nest if you open it too much. Alyssa, I recommend opening the bluebird box, checking it about once every 4 to 5 days. I've had my own customers tell me that they open their boxes every day. I don't recommend that, but I've heard people say that, and the bluebirds are so used to it that they don't bother. When I walk up to my bluebird box, I usually talk to her. I usually tell Mom I'm coming to open the box and going to check on her and give her a chance to fly out. Sometimes she doesn't even do that. She just sits there. I open the side of the box and she looks up at me and stays on the egg. So they're so many generations now of bluebirds have been reared from bluebird boxes that they are pretty used to us checking on them. But I'd say 4 to 5 days is what I recommend for sure. Because you never want to run them off, that's for sure. You work so hard to get them in there. Well, other thing, a couple of things. I got a couple 3 slides here of some of those spectacles that are happening in March, and I know we got people on from all over the country. Has anybody ever been up to see the Sandhill crane migration spectacle in Kearney, Missouri in March? If you have not, it is unbelievable, and it's something everybody should try to do at least once in their life. It is a spectacle of nature. I led a group tour up there one year, and we called that program Boomers and Squawkers, and these are the squawkers, the sandhill cranes, and then tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of these sandhill cranes that are migrating up from the Gulf Coast and the Southwest and filtering up to their nesting grounds. And there's famous stopover point on the Platte River there in Nebraska, and oh my gosh, it's quite a scene to be out there in a blind at evening whenever they're coming in to roost on the river, and in the morning when they take off again. It's one of the true spectacles of nature, and you guys that live close enough to go witness it on regular, you're very lucky, and it's something I recommend. That if you're a bird lover, it's something that you really should witness at least once. It's great. It makes for a great trip, and of course the boomers of the boomers and squawkers are the greater prairie chickens. These are 2 males kind of fighting it out on the booming grounds where they're trying to attract females. This one on the right actually has a radio transmitter on it and a band on his leg, you can see. But that is another spectacle of nature. Unfortunately, prairie chickens are vanishing from this country. Missouri has so few left, and they used to have a lot. Kansas still has a decent population, and then they probably down in Oklahoma. There's some places where they still thrive, but in Missouri, our numbers have just diminished, and that's a whole nother program in itself as to why they're disappearing. But that's one of the true spectacles of nature that happens in the bird world in March when these guys are out there. Is the sound they make, and they say you can hear it from a mile away. That's how low and deep and throaty their call is. And the females come out there and they get all crazy and they start jumping up in the air and trying to attract her and impress her. So highly recommend that. But that's not the only chicken that does that, or grouse. This is a sharp-tailed grouse Leck up in Nebraska. A friend of mine took this pictures a few years ago, and they have their own dance that they do and call. The males get out there and compete for the attention of the ladies. The ladies come out there and choose which one of the males they want to mate with, and they're impressive dancers. So March is a happening month. I mean, we've got a lot of song. We've got a lot of we've got molting going on. We've got migration going on. We've got this kind of mate attraction rituals going on all over. It's a great time to be out and exploring in the natural world. But there's a lot of dangers too for birds, especially in migration. And I know this is I get in trouble when I talk about house cats sometimes with people who have a lot of cats. But what this picture illustrates is how I firmly believe that cats indoors, cats pose a huge threat to songbirds, and and keeping them indoors where they're safer and the birds are safer during migration, especially when birds are moving through your area. They don't know to be scared of them, and so that this is a time of year that keeping your cats indoors, which I believe in your cats indoors all year long. And I'm going to put a link in the description to a great program called Cats Indoors by the American Bird Conservancy, if you can read up on that. And it's a pro-cat. It's not an anti-cat campaign. It's trying to promote healthier cats by keeping them indoors as well as healthier birds. So, but my big question of the night, and this was sent in to me this week, and it was asked if I had recommendations about bears and bird feeders. And personally, I have never lived in an area where I had bears. So I don't have a lot of real practical experience when it comes to dealing with bears and bird feeders. I know all I know is kind of what I've had input from friends that had lived in the area and what I've read. So I'm putting it out there for you guys tonight. Any of you who live in areas where black bears and you coexist with them, if you've had any experience with dealing with bears and your bird feeders and what you do to keep them out of your feeders. Now, I know in winter you don't have to worry about it because they're hibernating and they're not. They love bird seed. They're gonna get into your feeders once they come out of hibernation. They'll come in when they've got their cubs and things. They'll bring those in too. So a lot of people just give up and they just bring their bird feeders in once the bears are out there. And some communities actually have ordinances against feeding birds during bear season because it can cause problems with the neighbors and things like that. So, but there are ways. I know there are ways to keep your bird feeders away from the bears. And I know I've read and I had friends that strung cables between like a big giant tree in their house, and they can pulley the bird feeders out there, and then of course the bears they can't get to them, and that's is one method. I've had people hanging from under their eaves from the second floor of their house. They talk about that, but when it comes to just bird feeders in your yard, like this picture, the bears are going to come and they're going to destroy bird feeders. Probably the closest I think we come to it at our store is we do have bird feeders like this one from a company called Veracraft that was bought up years ago by another company. But they've made their bird feeders out of PVC pipe, and it's pretty thick PVC pipe, and they're very durable, and the bears, if they can get them to the ground and roll them around and they can chew on them, but usually they don't destroy them like they do one that's made from plexi or wood. That they can absolutely destroy those. These are very, very tough bird feeders that the bears tend to have harder time to destroying. So let me see, trying to see if anybody's jumped in with any advice on on bears. Oop. When bears are out, the only real options are electric animal fences or Yeah, or take your feeders in at night, but nothing's 100%. That is a sentiment I have definitely heard, John. And let's see, Richard. Well, keep them high. No shepherd hooks or poles. I have mine hanging from high tree branches. Also, take them down. My suet feeders. Yes, two things that I know that I've seen with suet feeders and hummingbird feeders can be tough. The sugar water, once they get a taste of that, as I've heard that. Do you have any nest boxes in your yard? If so, predators, you go to war again. For nest boxes in my yard. Well, yeah, I don't have any right now in my new house because it's not been nesting season yet, just now coming up. But I've always had bluebird boxes and house wrens wherever I live, depending upon what was best for them. And the predators, there's black snakes and raccoons, and there are those that you want to protect against. And if you can put raccoon baffles on your poles, that's always a good idea. But there's also those are natural predators, and they're biggest worry are house cats and keeping them from underneath my bluebird boxes and stuff, because they will prey on them. Make sure my houses are high enough. Absolutely. The bears. Oh, we already got that. Okay, let's see. Yeah. House sparrows. If you got the right size hole, you don't have to worry about any like starlings, but house sparrows are always a battle. Krista brings your feeders in at night. Also putting out seed cylinders. They decimate those. I believe that. Yeah. I'm wondering about you guys with gas grills. I mean, can you not keep? Yeah, but you can't keep a gas grill out at night, can you? You would think that they smell that grease and be all over that. That's something that we have regularly. And I have people who put their hummingbird feeders in their gas grill at night and then bring it out in the morning and hang it back up again. But something tells me that would be kind of iffy with the bears. Something happened here in Louisville, Quebec last week. A male turkey came running after a man scared away with a snowball, chased him around his car. His wife was laughing. That's funny. Yeah. It's time. I could have easily put a picture in of a male turkey showing tonight, because they're starting to call, and they're starting to their whole mate attraction ritual as well, just like all the grouse species that we showed earlier. And they can get territories like the Canada geese. We had Canada geese that last year nested in front of this department store and an island of vegetation there in front of the store. And when people tried to come to the door, the geese would chase them away. So, their birds get territorial around their nest, no doubt. On evening news, they said he had attacked children. They put up the turkey, hell murky down. Poor fellow, but yeah. I mean, if they're that territorial and you've got children and things, I understand. They right there in their territory. And I mean, that's a sad situation where that happens. Yeah. All right. Do females ever fight over males? Yes, Sandy. Absolutely. When it comes to birds banging into your windows in the springtime, they're seeing their reflection, and females will do that just as aggressively as males will. Female cardinals will, try to chase that other female out of her territory. Yeah, the females are protective of their nesting territories. That's for sure, like males are. All right, let's see a couple more. The bluebird eggs we found last month were old eggs. Yes, they built on top of that nest. That's exactly. We removed the eggs. Still overrun with pine siskins in northern Mississippi. But you guys had a better year than we did, for sure. And yes, remember, birds lay eggs on command. So it's nothing for a bluebird if something's wrong and they decide that those eggs aren't going to hatch, or a predator scares them away. She can lay a new set of eggs on command, and she will abandon those eggs and not think twice about it. And she may even come back to that same box and build a brand new nest on top of those old eggs. That's why it's good to clean that box. You have to clean that box out because she won't reuse the nesting material, and obviously you need to get those old eggs out of there. But it happens. If you've not seen any activity, especially a week or 2 weeks, and there's eggs in there, you might as well clean it out because she would have been in there sitting on those eggs if they were going to, she was going to do anything with it. Caspian had a flock of sandhills fly overhead. You're lucky. That's great. They're so noisy. I love hearing them. All right. Right. You did the sandhill migration. Excellent. Yeah. March 22nd, I understand, is like peak for the sandhill migration up there, is the way I understand it. Julie takes it. Okay. Yep. Absolutely.
I have the group down at the very bottom that I just posted. So if you want to scroll down and click on it.
All right. Let's see. You went to Nebraska. Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Favorite bird. Hello, Brian Voorhees. You were in the store today. Just over the river in Kansas. Oh. All right. Join our Facebook community. Yeah, Melanie's posted the community group. If you haven't joined that yet, that's up. Andrew said he was attacked by a mockingbird last spring. Yes, one of my most successful videos my popular videos I have is I call Menacing Mockingbirds, and it's about dealing with those birds. They get really aggressive, and now you guys up north don't have to deal with them very much, but it's a state bird of most of the southern states, the extreme southern states, and they can get very aggressive. They can around their nest and also at bird feeders. They'll chase a lot of other birds away, and a lot of people don't like them for that. So. All right, let's see. A kingbird. Wow. Oh my. Yeah. Kingbirds are, birds, if they're attacking, it usually means you're really close to their nest. That's the most common reason for them to be that aggressive or around their nest. All right. I think I may be called up.
Did you see the one? I think somebody had come in the store and met you today or earlier this week.
Oh, I missed that.
It was Carol, I think, with the C.
Oh, yep.
Enjoyed meeting you. There you go.
Hi, Carol. Yeah, it was great. I'm glad you asked, and I was there and introduced yourself. It's always great to put a face with a name, and really enjoyed your story about how you found out about me and joined the channel. It's great. Good to see you. I'm glad you joined in with us tonight. Absolutely. Get those new bird feeders up. All right, Jordan. What did that say? I made a slot box 1 1/8 inch slot. Sparrows went right in without working to it. Wow, that is a small hole. So that was those slim house sparrows, because you're going to end up having to go with a 1 inch hole. Had a few bluebirds around, but will not entice them due to sparrow pressure here. Only wrens, chickadee boxes. Yeah. When there's that, you got house sparrows that numerous. Like I said, I know that I talked to some people this week about the can't beat them, join them last ditch method for bluebirds, and that is if you put this back up here again. You can drill let's put this back so I can take. So some people, if they have horrid house sparrow problems and they battle, the bluebirds are still trying to find a nest box, then taking and drilling about a 2 inch hole at the top of the bluebird box and covering it with hardware cloth. That allows rain and the sun to get in there, and the house sparrows hate that. Bluebirds will still use it. You want to make sure you've got a nest lift in the bottom of the box like this one to keep that nesting material up off the bottom. But that female bluebird is going to brood those eggs and the babies. If it rains, she's going to be there on top of them and protect them. And I've seen them successfully nest in bluebird boxes that have no lid on it even, or if they have a big hole in it, But we always recommend like some hardware cloth up there or something to keep a predator from being able to reach in there. So that is your last ditch effort to try in that situation if you do have lots and lots of house sparrows. All right, let's see. We're going to wrap up. Looks like I think I'm caught up. I hope so. I hope if I missed your comment or question, please forgive me. And remember, you can always contact me. In the description below the program is my contact information. You can send me emails, and several of you I've conversed with you back in the last couple of weeks. If you got a question you want to answer there, and the links to things that we talked about, I'll try to like the Cats and Doors program, things like that. I'll put that in the questions below, in the description below, so you can access those to read more about it. But as always, you guys are terrific. It was a great program. Thank you so much for joining in. Please always send in more ideas. Send us what you want me to talk about. We have a couple more lives. We got April coming soon, and boy, migration is really going to be cranking the next time we do one of these lives. So birds will be pouring in. Thanks for your participation tonight, Daryl. Thank you. Thank you so much. It was a great program, and I really appreciate you guys' participation. So if you would, please spread the word. Give us a like, give us a share. Stop by the store if you are. Absolutely. I'd love to meet you. I know of someone else who's said they were going to stop by this week. I'm looking forward to meeting them. And like I said, it's a great time. And thank you all so much. Have a great evening. Oh. Say bye, Melanie.
Bye.
Have a good night.